Holy shit, we just watched the first episode of Psycho Pass re-edit version. You said you've seen these 2 episodes of the original show back when they aired. Yes,
Yeah.
there's a hole in your shirt, I get it. Back when they first aired, but you don't really remember it at all. I just watched the entire show recently, but this is the new edit version where they've taken each 2-episode span, crammed them into a 1 hour-long episode, and added some new scenes. What'd you think of this first episode, Vic? What were your impressions?
It was cool. It was Psycho Pass. They had
Yeah.
guns.
You like the guns?
It was pretty looking.
Wait, you like the
nice.
the robots?
Fucking smile robots are weird.
They
They disturb me because they just walk up, they beat the shit out of things.
What'd you think of the hologram rooms and the mall and
That
stuff?
was all cool.
We said it reminded you
It
of...
was neat. Phantasy Star, yes. Actually, the rooms are Phantasy Star too. That's what you do. You go to your room and you just pick a layout. It's like...
So basically, this is Phantasy Star Online.
Yes,
if
the show.
Like,
if it were
but not in space.
Gun sci-fi.
It is a gun sci-fi,
That
not
is.
in space.
But it's not in the city.
And then you also, what did you say about the ending theme kicking in at that moment?
Oh god, it was hilarious. We were all just sitting in an office, and it was like, kicks in.
She
and
like
it was like self-acceptance level up.
Right, it's like level
ridiculous.
up music. It's like epic ass music kicks in.
They're just sitting around for like
Nothing's
straight 30
happening.
seconds. Nothing is happening.
Psycho Pass episodes 1 and 2, probably overall, like, because they're just establishing stuff, so they're not really the strongest episodes of the show. The first episode is... the first episode does bother me because it's a lot of people telling each other shit they should already know. It's like, she's just come out of the academy, but they're all, like, re-explaining stuff. But they make it okay because each of them puts, like, a twist on what they're explaining, where, like, you know, he tells her the enforcers are, like, she's like, don't even think of these people as humans. These are just dogs that we use for our own purposes. And people who have already seen Psycho Pass before will know that there's, like, a clever turnaround on that exact scene later in the show.
I see.
The particular way that he introduces the enforcers will be called back to at some point. I won't spoil how, though. I'm gonna try to talk about this without spoiling anything. But, episode 2, or the second half of this episode, is mostly setting up Tsunemori's character as we learned that she has a psychopath that didn't get cloudy, even though all kinds of fucked up shit happened. Like, she didn't even need therapy, which most people need therapy regularly. Like, as we see in this episode, if you skip a therapy when your psychopath is cloudy, the police will come beat the shit out of you and take you into custody. So make sure you
pose this hilarious
make sure
smiley
you
robots
get
with
your
big
fucking
heads,
therapy.
and they'll beat the shit out of you.
But she doesn't even need therapy because her psychopath is so good. She has perfect test scores. She has an aptitude for literally every job in the universe.
Awesome.
But the reason she took the job in the police is because she was the only person with an aptitude for that. Like, she could have taken any job, but no one else was good for police work, so she decided to take that job. You know, because in the first episode, and in this episode especially, then we learned that the enforcers can easily determine who criminals are and easily take care of them, and the inspectors aren't really expected to do anything. They're expected to just stand there and let the enforcers do their work and just shoot them if they don't like what they're doing. But she is pissed off because she wants to actually do detective work. She's like, you know, I studied this, I know shit about this, I want to, you know, do it, but most inspectors aren't supposed to. But what makes her special is that her psychopath never gets cloudy. So, like, this episode is basically setting up the idea that she can be the one detective who, you know, who can have the powers of the enforcer while being an inspector, possibly. So that's kind of what they're establishing here. And of course, when Kogami wakes up from his coma, he's like, yeah, you know, I was actually really happy because I feel like you actually give a shit, unlike everyone else who would have. He was like, you know, I've been doing this job for so long that I'm used to just fucking shooting people and not asking any questions, but, you know, with you as my leader, I feel like maybe I could do some real detective work and not just
detectives.
not just be a dog of the military.
They can be true detectives.
Entertaining episodes, beautiful to look at. The new scenes that they added are at the beginning of each episode. So the first one is Makishima has an extra bit of dialogue at the start of episode 1, which I thought was pretty cool because it's kind of weird though because you don't know anything about this guy yet.
It's this white haired guy. I was like, oh, I was supposed to watch the
show
already.
Right, if you've already seen the show, that dialogue is just like a little bit of additional, like, it just adds to his character a little bit. More like it establishes what he's about. Because he says, like, you know, like, he basically says love and hate are two sides of the same coin, whereas indifference is the opposite, is the real opposite of love. And he was like, he loves humans, he loves watching them, and he says when you truly want to observe someone, you don't just watch them, you watch what they're watching. Which I thought was great. It didn't sound, I think he was quoting something. He was probably quoting several things, because that's what he does. He likes to quote philosophical texts. But it was weird to have that when most viewers aren't going to know who the hell that guy is yet. And then the second one was an additional scene with Kogami giving a speech. And this one had this, like, long shot of his CG hand, like, looking at the gun, as you put it, immersion-breaking CG.
Awkward looking. We're just like, this is a CG hand, and stare at it for like a minute.
It did do a good job of using that scene to transition from episode 1 to episode 2 and make it feel more cohesive than it would have if it had just suddenly been another episode. But yeah, the CG hand thing was like, what the fuck. Definitely the weakest visual thing that I've seen in Psycho-Pass. Yeah. But otherwise, fun stuff. Established a lot of plot. We'll see where it's going. I know where it's going, but you'll see where it's going. So yeah.
Going to the doctor? Good. Going to the bathroom?
Do an outro.
Going to school? Just going to class? I don't know where it's going. Where am I? I'm going.